Hi people, I just thought I'd make a quick video about the spiritual battle that's going on right now. In case you haven't realized, apparently we're living in some kind of simulation that's a cross between Star Wars and the Matrix. So yeah, here's the score according to the plants.
Messages from the plants.
So yeah, again, this is another message or group of messages that I've received from the plants. Again, you don't have to believe me. You can think that I'm crazy, that's fine. But I just felt compelled to share it with you and risk public humiliation about being one of the crazies. But you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. So before I got on the plant path, I would say I was pretty much a nihilist, hedonist, scientific materialist. I didn't believe in any of this sort of shit. I thought it was a bunch of new age nonsense. I still do. But pretty much on my third ayahuasca session, I had a really profound download which made me feel crazy. Because what I basically was told was that all this shit that's going on right now in this physical realm is just a reflection of a greater spiritual battle that's going on in the higher realms between the forces of light and the forces of darkness. Yeah, this was pretty hard for me to take as a scientific materialist, coming from a background of everything is meaningless, let's just get fucked up type of mind frame to, hey, there's a battle going on. And what they also told me was that the time for sitting on the fence was coming to a close. You had to pick a side and go with it. And it kind of showed me how the forces of darkness, they sort of work through people or through institutions, through their blind spots, their points of trauma, and they seem to take over people and pit them against each other because essentially these networks of dark forces feed off negative energy, negative emotional energy, which they create by, various divide and conquer tactics that you can kind of see rife through the world right now. So in many ways, all these world wars that you're seeing right now, they're not really between countries. They're actually, everyone's just being pitted against each other by these forces that are manipulating them, much like puppets, because they need us for food. So following that third experience on ayahuasca, I started working with acacia a bit, and on my first acacia experience, I basically received the message that existence is a joke that we have to take seriously, otherwise it's not funny. Yep. I laughed for a very long time when I was informed of that, mostly face down in a puddle of my own puke. But I love the way that the plant spirit put that, existence is a joke that we have to take seriously, otherwise it's not funny. And it then elaborated on this battle of light and dark type sequence that's going on, and it said it's a necessary process. It was very similar to the Vedic idea of Lila, or Leela, the divine play between the light and dark. You have to have both sides to create some form of activity or life. Otherwise, if you just have all light or if you have all dark, it's just static, it doesn't move. So you need both sides to sort of create, active life. Or what it also sort of showed me was that our realm was kind of like a source of entertainment for high dimensional life forms. So they sort of started just cranking up the knobs recently just because they were just bored of the show. They needed something a bit more interesting to start happening, so they're like, all right, let's crank up the global warming. All right, we'll put Trump in charge. Yep, okay. And now, all right, let's get this surveillance thing going on and the COVID. All right, yep. Now, okay, it's getting kind of interesting now. So that's what it kind of showed me, that our realm was nothing more than a reality TV show for high dimensional life forms. So yeah, during that journey, it also was sort of showing me how, it was like that Shakespeare quote, full of sound and fury signifying nothing. This whole big thing we get swept in, life or the universe, whatever you want to call it, was just nothing more than this big sort of show or this parade or this game, and it really kept on stressing to me how this was just a simulation of some kind of computer game simulation, but we still had to play it seriously, but with a lightness of touch. so we didn't get totally wrapped up in there and really, sort of get lost. Uh, Always to remain comic distance, always to maintain one's comic distance from the actual affairs that were playing out. So we have to play the game, but you don't have to get caught up in it so much. Another journey I was kind of shown through, it was Acacia and Ayahuasca together. I was given this vision of like this, like it's like a given a map of the world, and there was all these little tiny bright lights, and around these bright lights, it was kind of showing me these are people activating, and if you see each of these activating lights, they're activating all the other lights around them. So, it showed me this one little light, and then all of a sudden all the lights around it would start activating as well. So it was kind of showing me that that's what everyone who's activating right now has to be like. So, how you go about that is everyone's own personal journey. But yeah, I like that image. It was a nice image. Yeah, so that was the vision I got about the spiritual battle that's going on. Again, you can just take this as the ravings of a crazy person who is on a lot of psychedelic plants. Or the way I like to view these things is from a more functional or practical point of view. Like, how does this worldview or perception affect my actions or the way I live my life now? If I look at the way that I was when I was adhering to the Matrix consensus worldview, I was pretty sad. I was fucking depressed. All I lived was for myself and selfish gratification. And I was pessimistic as fuck, There was not really anything to do other than to get my kicks, get my rocks off, and then just be depressed when I wasn't. And now that I've sort of aligned myself with, I guess, a more shamanic worldview of this spiritual battle that's going on, I feel like I have a lot more purpose in my life. I feel like I was given a role or, a job to fulfill in a story that was bigger than myself. And that alone is an amazing antidepressant. It's forced me to examine and heal myself, find all those blind spots and points of trauma where these forces of darkness tend to enter into us and possess us, and then use us in the battlefield to create more food for them. Even if you don't buy into that idea, if it's made me heal myself and better myself and align myself with more positive purpose, then who's to really say what's right and what's wrong or what's true or what's false? Because in the end of the day, you'd never know. But as the Spirit said, now's the time to pick a side. So I picked mine. Maybe you should pick yours. Bussy.